Okay, it is January 2nd, 2018, at 9 o'clock in the morning. Our first, we will call the Floyd County Board of Supervisors organizational meeting to order. First item on our agenda is to approve our agenda.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve our agenda as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 2, review action regarding the appointment of the chairperson for 2018.
Well,
Pleasure is yours.
all right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm pleased to nominate Supervisor Jaden as our chairperson for 2018. I think in her first year of office, she's exemplified one of the key traits of leadership, and that is an ability to work with others toward a common goal. And I certainly saw that in the law enforcement center that's brought us to date, and I think she's very capable and ready to lead the Board of Supervisors in 2018.
With that, it is my pleasure to second that. And further discussion, I would say, I'm really happy with the way Floyd County is going. We didn't have any big catastrophes this year, which gives you time to think about other things. We have our large animal ordinance, which seemed to please a lot of people in the county, and it seems to have solved some problems out there. That's just one of the things. The other thing is, in addition to law enforcement, it seems like people are looking forward. You know, we have to do something with this courthouse in order to take us into, maybe not the next century, but the future.
Mm-hmm.
And people are thinking that, thanks to you.
Appreciate that.
So with that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And before we start then, I do want to just add a few statements. You know, just beginning, this particular adventure of being on the Board of Supervisors for the first year, it certainly was educational. I was in a learning situation, and I embraced it because I enjoyed learning, about the actual government aspects, which I had never been in. But I'm very encouraged. I think all three of us, worked very well together. I appreciate both of you for helping to guide me, in a lot of our discussions. But I think all three of us worked very well together. So I'm looking forward to that again in 2018. As far as, again, the future, and I, agree with what you're saying, Supervisor Cam, that we have a lot to look forward to. Part of my goal for this year is again, I think getting more closely connected with a lot of the different departments, trying to be more visible than I was, even throughout the county. I'd like to, start attending even some meetings in some of the other towns, and getting to know more of the people. I think it's important that we are seen and visible so people feel that we're more approachable. The other big thing, of course, is, I am looking forward to a vote coming up very soon, I think, by all of us on what we want to pursue with the new jail facility so that we can keep our county safe. I think that needs to be, utmost important, I think, in all of our minds. And then, again, I think, potential renovations to this courthouse. It is an older building, and like any older building or any, other facility, they need to be maintained and kept up to date. And clearly, I think by talking to our county auditor over the weekend, our boiler system is certainly an issue and continues to be that. It seems like, unfortunately, on every holiday, from what I'm hearing. So we do need to take that very seriously, and I think it's very important as we proceed, if the vote is made to go to referendum, that we all help educate too, I think, the citizens of Floyd County and do our best to make sure that they understand kind of the situation that we're in, with both the jail and our existing courthouse needs. So with that, I'm looking forward to 2018.
Me too.
All right. Okay.
You'll sit in this chair.
That's all right. That way you can see both of
Okay.
you. Otherwise, I'm sitting there looking on both sides. All right, so our next action is to appoint a vice chair for 2018.
Okay, with that, I would nominate Mark Kuhn for the position of vice chair.
And I would second that. Any further comments? All
He's
right.
been there before.
Yes.
All right, with that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Ayes have it. Mark Human will be our new vice chair for 2018. We have review action regarding setting meeting dates. I know, seems like they've been typically, I know, on Mondays, but I mean, if anybody has any comments about
No.
making any changes,
it's been brought up
workshops
in
on
the
Mondays.
past. It's been brought up in the past, and we've debated it, we've taken some meetings on the road, and it just really doesn't seem to make a lot of difference, so. I'd be comfortable leaving them just like they are, the workshop meetings typically scheduled for every Monday, depending on need, and our regular meetings, the second and fourth Tuesdays, time being 9 o'clock.
All right, motion made,
Second.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
We have scheduled our meetings again. Review action regarding destroying certain useless documents over 10 years old.
Make a motion to allow all the county officials, is that correct? This is primarily the auditor.
This is the way it's always been before my time, so I don't have
No
an answer.
We have a treasure here.
There you go. Any comment on that?
My recollection is that this has been a standard motion
Mm-hmm.
presented every year, and
This is,
my understanding was it related to the auditor's records only. And each officer has a schedule that's
I know,
Is
largely
it
maintained
just
by
auditors?
at the state level about their records and how long they must be maintained.
I know I have asked the auditors before if it needed to be on the agenda, and they said it didn't, so in the past, I brought it to the board and said, do you want to have it on here? And
So here it
it
is.
just stayed on,
Guess,
so.
I guess it depends if some action results from your motion. No action results from your motion.
I follow a group put together the record retention manual for all departments, not just elected officials, but all departments. And so we follow that. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that would be 10 years old that I would destroy that should be a permanent record.
Sure.
Or anything that's, if it, record retention says keep like maybe certain election stuff, it's,
Seems like in today's world with electronic stuff, it doesn't seem like you can destroy anything anyway. Once it's electronic, it's there for
Right, yeah.
forever.
Times are changing. That's true.
But
there's still a lot of paper things that go through with like payroll stuff, that kind of things, you know. But we follow record retentions, and I don't know if there's always been a record retention, because I've got a really old manual for record retention. I don't know how old that one is, you know, that soft copy.
Sure.
Well, do we have a motion?
yes, my motion is to allow the auditor to destroy certain useless documents that are over 10 years.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Okay, next on the agenda is review action regarding resolution 01-18 reoccurring claims for 2018.
And I would move to approve resolution 1-18 for recurring claims for 2018.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next on the agenda, review action regarding Board of Supervisor appointments. I know we looked at this last week. There wasn't any conversation at that time, other than the action was for us to look it over.
Well, I told you, it seems like have a disproportionate share with
As being chair, you mean?
the building jail committee, so I'll be glad to take anything off you to lighten your load.
So you're gonna take the jail committee?
If you want to,
No.
you tell
I'm
me.
kidding. No, I've been enjoying that.
And again, I'm alternate on the other ones, if it just gets to the point where you can't make it, just feel free to.
In most of the cases, we're voting members or we're,
Liaisons.
yeah, as a result of involvement on boards that we really aren't membership. One question I do have, and I want to tell you, I've not been attending the meetings regularly, and that's the, I've been appointed to the Floyd County Fair Society.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess, you know, I want to raise the question of exactly why a Board of Supervisors member is kind of a liaison. We don't really have a great deal to do with them, but I'll plan on trying to attend to some more meetings if you'd like me to, but.
The liaison thing, just for history, has only been here we've only done that for what, 2, 3, kind of started.
Yeah, I think some of those placements are
after the
good.
veterans-
Like the airport.
After the veterans thing, we
Yeah.
decided maybe a little,
Mhm.
just like you were saying.
Right.
So that.
The Board of
people know
Health.
it-
Mhm.
But those,
Conservation.
and, you know,
Yeah.
but there's a little more direct link to the Board of
Board of-
Supervisors than to the Floyd County Fair
Right.
Society.
Yeah.
And there is some linkage there,
Yeah.
but it just brought it up for your
Mhm.
consideration.
We can,
Now, they usually come in and make a presentation to us about it and a request.
I'm sure they will.
well, of course, they did last year because of the Youth Enrichment Center and
Right.
in support of that, so.
Perhaps at that time, maybe we
Yeah.
can just have a discussion with them
Sure.
about that.
Yeah.
But either that or I'm going to start attending meetings a little better.
But again, if you wanna change it up to go to different ones, just let me know.
I think, I mean, the way it sounds too, we can keep it, status quo at this point, other than the changes that are gonna be made are the ones, I suppose, as me with chair that attend versus,
One of them would be department head, the other one is joint entity.
right. Is there another one? Those will have to be updated.
Who are the two,
Risk
the only
management.
two, who,
Court
Yes,
security.
Mm-hmm.
and emergency management.
Yes, which is tomorrow night. Any further? Okay, so do we want to make a motion on this then, or who wants to make the motion?
Well, I would move to leave appointments as present, except for the ones held by the chair, which would be joint entity, emergency management, and department head meeting,
And risk management.
risk management. So there would be 4.
Courthouse security.
The 3 right here. On the minutes that we have, those would go last year's minutes.
On the back.
Um, I've kind of relied on all of you, but are you all part of the assessor's conference board or emergency management?
Typically not the Emergency Management Commission, we are the assessors one.
Mm-hmm.
We all attend that meeting and the voting members. Because as we found out, it has to take a majority of the membership of the board to
Right.
cast our vote.
So then, one would be the emergency management one, that would come off of here. and Linda would be emergency management.
Yeah, and then-
As the chair.
isn't there 4 of them? That would go from my column to Lynn's column, which would be the joint entity. It used to be the chamber and the joint entity met following each other, but it no longer does. The joint entity is by itself. So that should be a separate committee anyway.
Is the joint entity always?
See,
Yeah.
on this old minutes, it's
Yeah.
listed,
Yep, yep, yep.
that's now a separate meeting time and everything.
They're held once a month, right?
Correct.
The joint
Using it on
entity.
Thursday mornings.
Yeah. It's like I say, I
8:30.
attended a couple of them there, because you weren't
Yeah.
able to make it. Yeah.
So the Chamber of Commerce, when you're not a member to, you've just appointed someone as a
Liaison.
liaison.
Just like the revitalization meeting.
So the
Okay.
joint entity, the risk management, county department head, courthouse security. That automatically goes with the chair. What was the other one I said?
Chamber, or chamber liaison and joint entity, did you say?
Those are
Somebody said
separate meetings.
revitalization.
Those are separate.
Those are separate now. On these old minutes, they weren't. They used to be held at the same time. The chamber, or the joint entity was always right after the chamber meeting, but then when Steve came, it switched to a separate, completely separate meeting time and meeting.
And it was the emergency management as chair, is that one.
So then do you want to autopilot that in your absence of that one, that the vice chair of the board of supervisors will be the alternate, or do you want to do something different?
For which one?
Emergency management.
I would think the vice chair, I would like to see that.
So that would be a change on here then.
Right, right.
Where was revitalization on this one somewhere?
Hmm?
Was revitalization on here? I'm just looking.
Well, that would be over under Linda's column, isn't she?
Well, you're talking on the minutes?
Yeah.
On those old minutes? Yeah, it's right at the top on the second page. By,
So that stays there then?
That was under my column. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right. Is that all contained in your motion?
Okay.
All right. Seconded.
All right, for the changes that have already been made, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of those changes already stated, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and those opposed, and we have made our changes. Okay. Agenda 8, review action regarding naming official county newspapers.
I make a motion to approve the same county newspapers as the official publications of the minutes of the Board of Supervisors, the Chelsea Press and the North Springs Ad Register.
I think so. Is it there, is there a Rockford one?
No, there are only
Okay.
2 that meet the criteria for Iowa code to qualify
Okay.
for this.
I'll second that.
All right. We've got a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and nobody opposed. Okay, review action regarding appointments to various departments is the next on the agenda. Where do we see that?
On these old minutes.
That's what I wondered, where at? Oh, okay, on the second page. So what we had in here last year was county engineer Dustin Rolando, public health was Gail Artis, county social services general assistant director Bob Lincoln, case management director Raina Kellogg,
Is that
sanitary.
changed? Renee? They have different titles because of the reorganization?
She's the head of a quadrant now, but I think she still retained that position of case management director.
I think so.
Mhm.
Okay. Sanitarian slash E911 addressing Jeff Sherman, emergency management slash zoning safety coordinator Leslie McCrae.
To be with.
That's what I thought.
And that, I don't know that it's
I looked
necessarily
at that
appropriate
too.
to appoint these either, because they do have their own boards and
Yeah,
commissions.
I wondered about that. I mean, they do, so, and yet this is something that's just always been on the agenda. Huh. Medical examiner, primary.
Those you
staff.
have to.
Those have or haven't?
You have to do the medical examiner.
Okay, primary Dr. Royer, alternates Dr. Schweitzer, Dr. Schroet, and conservation director Adam Sears.
I would move to make the appointments to the various departments as named.
Seconded?
Okay, we have a motion made, and let's go ahead and vote on that. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I said aye. Motion passed. Agenda item 10, review action regarding city non-elected appointments to the NIACOG board.
And we
And
we have
again-
talked about this. I'll bring it up again, it's the only non-gender appointment that we have. As Bob, excuse me, Joe Meyer likes to point out, Floyd County is the only one that ever has 100% attendance at the boards. But if we're going to do it as we've done in the previous, Jimmer has to be appointed as our business representative, and J.R. Ackley would be appointed as our city elected, which would just
Flip them
flop the
around.
two. From the way they're appointed now.
I had an opportunity to visit with both of them. They were regular attendees and very interested in the work of NIACOG.
Actually, to be honest, out of 9 counties, Jimmer is the chair and JR is the vice chair. So we are well represented there.
I guess.
So I make a motion to approve our 2 representatives to the NIACOG board, from the elected officials, J.R. Ackley, and from the business representative, Jim Erb.
And I would second that.
Okay. We have a motion made, first and seconded. Let's take vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 11, review action regarding Floyd County Small City Representative to the Transportation Policy Board.
Okay.
Which is that?
And I believe that's Jim Erb also, isn't it?
That's it. Mark is transportation volunteer, which I think you did up above with your previous motion. Or, no, this
No,
is what
this
you
is
and I talked
different.
about. You've already done that in your motion above. They have this as Mark, but it should, these two are, should be Doug.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why they have those
Yeah,
that way, but they just
never.
missed it on their sheet, so.
All right, I make a motion to approve Doug Cam as our representative on the transportation policy board.
Okay. I'll second the
I'll
motion.
You second?
I'll
All right.
second the motion. Okay, we have a motion made, let's vote. All those in favor, say
Hey,
aye.
hold up, that's already done in your motion above. That's right, that one wouldn't have needed to be, I think maybe it should
For
be.
transportation policy?
Yep, it's in your chart, your table of appointments.
Oh, it is?
Okay.
It's,
Is that under Doug?
it's,
Transportation
The very
Policy
bottom
Board,
one.
it is, yeah, you're
Here.
right.
Yeah.
So that has already been made.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, apologize for that, that should come off the agenda. That wouldn't have needed to be on the agenda.
Okay, so we're gonna strike then item 11 on our agenda, based on the fact that it's already been voted on and approved, okay? Okay, agenda item number 12, review action regarding appointment to the NIACOG revolving loan fund committee. Is that on
Yeah, and our representative is Pat Gable, and I talked to Joe Myrie. Joe Myrie very much wants to have him continue. They haven't met much in the last year, but he said that he's been a great source of information, and so I called his office the other day, but he was in Memphis with you, and I left a long detailed message with his secretary, and she said she'd get it to him, and if I didn't hear anything back, we would appoint him. So I'm happy to.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything back
All
from
right.
him. So I'm-
Guess what?
I would move that we would appoint Pat Gable to the NIACOG revolving fund loan committee.
Seconded?
All right, motion made. We'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and motion passed. Okay, next on the agenda, review action regarding appointments to MAP 21 Enhancement Board and MAP 21 Tech Board.
And I would move that we would appoint Adam Sears to the MAP 21 Enhancement Board and Dustin Rolando to the MAP 21 Tech Board.
Seconded?
Okay, motion made. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 14, review action regarding appointment to non-board supervisor member and alternate to the Southwest Bypass TIF Board.
Those have been held by Auditor Carr as our non-board of supervisor member and Treasurer Ridinghouse as the alternate to that board. I think Gloria's wrote a great deal to that board on behalf of the county, and I know Frank's you're very interested in the work of the Southwest TIF Board. So I'd make a motion to approve Gloria Carr as the non-board of supervisor member and Frank Ridinghouse, our treasurer, as the alternate to the Southwest Bypass TIF Board.
Second.
Okay, motion made. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 15, review action regarding appointment of non-board of supervisor member and alternate to the Floyd County Communications Board.
And who was the alternate?
So we've had Sheriff
Jeff
Crooks
Crooks
as
is
the
the
non,
non-board member.
I was the
and
alternate
Gloria
for the
as the
board rep.
alternate.
You're the alternate, okay.
Or,
And Jeff
no, I was
Crook-
the alternate for Jeff, I'm the alternate for
Right.
Jeff. And supervisor is, another supervisor is the alternate for the board member. So, communications is still Linda,
Mhm.
and the alternate is Doug for board of supervisors. But this one is, Jeff is your appointment
For the non.
for the regular, and I'm his alternate that you've appointed.
Okay, I would move that we appoint Jeff Crooks as the non-board of supervisor member and Gloria Carr as being the alternate.
Seconded?
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 16, review action regarding appointments to the Cedar Valley Transportation Center Joint Board.
And I think I was listed as a liaison.
Appoint Dustin, Dusty was,
I make a motion to approve Dustin Rolando as our representative on the Cedar Valley Transportation Center Joint Board.
Second.
okay. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Agenda item 17, review action regarding Floyd County Weed Commissioner for 2018.
And I would move that we reappoint Sears as our 2018 weed commissioner.
Second?
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Agenda 18, review action regarding 2018 appointment for power of attorney for certain farm services agency documents. Okay, and that was in here too, right? Let's
That's
see,
been you.
we had, yeah, Supervisor Kewen.
Like I said the other day, one time, there was only, you were the only one farmer, but now all three of us would be in that office, but I'm comfortable leaving it the way it is, so I would move that we appoint Mark Kewen as our 2018 appointment for power of attorney for certain farm services agency documents.
Okay, and I'll second that. All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 19, review action regarding approval of the Floyd County investment policy. You printed that up for us. Has this changed at all? None?
Is this taken from the code, or is this?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is this like a common, is this pretty standard among most all counties?
I would think you would find all the same ingredients, yes, in all of the investment plans, yes. And it was after the Iowa Trust scandal or debacle that happened in the early 80s, there was a mass initiation of change to the investment policies in all the counties, and most all the counties. And, the gist of this
This is what
document
came out of it.
came from that situation,
Okay.
but it has been tweaked a little bit. The most recent change we made was to include drainage warrants as being approved investment options for us.
With that, I would move that we approve the Floyd County investment policy.
Second?
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 20, review action regarding resolution 02-18, naming depositories for the 2018 for the treasurer, sheriff, and recorder. We have that listed.
I can't remember if I provided in.
You did.
The minutes with the old ones, or not.
Well, I don't, has this changed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it did actually quite significantly. The auditor's office stopped using a checking account in June of last year. Kind of was giving it the rest of the 6 months, so now we just run our checks over to the treasurer's office. When we used to have to write checks for passports on a frequent basis, and so the account was handy then, but there was really no need for us to have an account. You know, we collect, well, you see my quarterly revenues that used to run through that account.
Fees collected or whatever.
And you'll still get those quarterly revenue reports from me. It's just everything's funneled through the treasurer's office now, rather than every quarter I would send a check over to Frank, but now there's really no reason for the auditor to have an account. And then Frank, you want to talk about your changes?
Oh, yes. Well, I just thought that, my suggestion was that these institutions and amounts that we have in place that we are not using and quite possibly do not have any intention of using, there's no reason to list those. If we would want to start a banking relationship again, we would come to the board and ask them to be included.
Okay. Which ones were taken off? Which ones were removed?
I'd rather talk about which ones we use,
Okay.
if that's okay.
That's fine.
First Security Bank and Trust is our main banking institution. In there, we have had a limit of $23 million there, and I've suggested a change to $25 million, just because that's well within the range of the balances that we've been experiencing. Bank of America holds on to some funds when payments are received through our internet payment site. They may hold some of Floyd County's funds for a day or 2 or 3 days. And so as that activity increases, that's why I've increased the amount to $1,500,000 that could possibly be in that account at any one single time.
What was the amount that we had before?
Was 300,000.
Oh, okay.
And Bankers Trust Company of Des Moines, of course, is holding our crossover bond money. And so that's the reason they're on the list.
All right, I'd move to approve the resolution 0218, naming depositories for 2018.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Agenda item 21, review action regarding resolution 03-18, naming depositories for 2018 for the CPC/case management/general assistant custodial accounts.
These are just that, they're custodial accounts that Carol, we take care of. And I ran this by her, Bob and Renee, and they responded that it was sufficient, keeping it as it is. So no changes from last year.
Yeah.
Okay, I would move that we approve resolution 3-18, naming the depositories for 2018.
Seconded.
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Number 22 on the agenda, review action regarding publication of gross wages for 2017.
This is, once a year we are required to publish our wages for the year, so Floyd County does it on a calendar year, the same as what income taxes are filed as Southern County has always done that, so it's not, we'll publish it along with these minutes if you approve to do so.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to approve the publication of gross wages for 2017.
I'll second that.
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion passed. All right, number 23 on the agenda, review action regarding resolution 04-18, allowing certain individuals to take county vehicles and equipment home and be available on a 24-hour basis.
This resolution was provided by the engineer's office, and to my knowledge, there's no changes from the past.
I would move to approve resolution 4-18.
Seconded.
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. So agenda 24, which is fiscal year 19 budget reviews, do we have any scheduled?
Leslie is scheduled for today.
Okay.
And, I told her it would probably be about 10, maybe by the time we got there, so we can call her and see if she's
Ready?
ready.
Hey Leslie, it's Gloria.
Hey.
The board happens to move right along through their agenda. Would you happen to be ready to do budget stuff?
Yep.
Okay. Come on up.
Alrighty.
Thanks. Bye.
Boot comment? Yeah, those are last week, I think.
Well, did you want to sign these?
Sure.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Happy holidays.
Okay.
Okay, there's that.
Oh, here's the funding request, you can put that in here.
Yeah, I got one also.
Good morning.
Put that in the request.
Yeah, I got one also on that.
How are you today?
A little cold,
A little cold.
just a little bit.
What do you mean? You got the hottest room in the courthouse down there.
Actually, I think it's now the coldest.
Is that because of the boiler?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's our
You should
boiler
go over the
issue
weekend.
again. And I handle
No
down to
wonder it was
court.
up, we gotta go, this is about 11:30 Saturday night when it got going again. Shouldn't be a boiler issue this time, it might be the wind direction.
Yeah, all last week and today is still freezing. Layer, and close. Wearing my coat, that's what I've been doing.
That one, they like, Dusty likes all three of your signatures on resolutions, or if you're all trying to sign
Okay.
I just have the safety and then the planning and zoning. I messed up the EMA budget, so I don't even have that for you guys to look at today. I've got that meeting tomorrow night though, sorry. So I should have that all squared away by then. And you know, Doug, you will need to be there, and then Linda, I'm assuming
I'm
you're,
chair.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that Doug would need to be there, because today they just appointed Linda.
Right,
as
but
that
for
one.
EMA commission, he has to pass it off. He
That's the way
has
it's
to
always
start my
been
EMA
done.
commission.
Yep.
Even
and
though
then
she's
he-
the chair as of today?
Yep,
Or-
because he still has to pass it to her, that's the way they've always done it for the commission,
That's the way it's always
Alright.
been.
so.
Interesting.
But for these two, other than, possible increase for the budget and then the FICA, IPERS, that stuff kinda following along with it, there was no real changes, actually, no changes, no increases at all, so. Pretty easy, kinda just kept everything as is. For the safety, I would like to get another training set up for that, so I'd like the trainings, the education and training services kept in there. I can't say that I'll use all of that for sure, but just in case, seeing how the last one from Rick Bush was the full courthouse security training. We used close to all of that, so. I haven't talked to the security committee yet about what training possibly to have in, but I think it's about time to do another one, so get something else.
Panic alarms was approved in the annual report.
Okay.
Just, so panic alarm training is one that needs to be.
Yeah,
done.
that, I'm pretty sure I can just do myself. I'm talking, for the, using this line item and why I want it to stay there, having someone else come in and train us all again. So, just so that,
For the active shooter or?
something along
Okay.
them lines, yeah. I think with
How
how
long ago
much
was that?
it's
2 years ago? Cause
Um,
I wasn't part of that, so I'm
15, 2015.
15. Oh, okay.
Isn't it interesting exercise?
It was right after,
Yeah.
it was shortly after, I was still fresh, so, I'm still fresh, but it was really early on, so.
Okay.
Is this 5%?
Oh, that's my breakdown. just so I know
20%,
my
80%.
salary.
Oh, gotcha.
5% of CIP is, or,
Yeah.
um, and then planning and zoning, same deal, hitting it. There's no real change with that. I don't see any raises, or I probably could have lowered some stuff, but I would like the commission, zoning, planning and zoning commission, let me say it backwards, to meet, a little bit more often this upcoming and possibly into this budget, because we're looking into corrections on the ordinance. Not redoing corrections on the ordinance.
The second item, that was Andrea's
Well,
salary.
I
You
was
didn't-
gonna ask about that
you
too, so
didn't put anything
what's
in
our
there.
plan there?
I personally would like to see, even a part-time assistant back in there. But I remember the last time I came up and asked, it was kind of, still in limbo on if we had decided to rehire someone in there or not.
I just remember the last thing that was mentioned
Well,
was we were gonna review the job description or something, you know, to what she was doing.
Probably the last conversation we had was when Jeff and Gary were up here, and there was talk of changing that position into something that meshed with GIS and,
Right. IT-ish or
Yeah.
something like that.
GIS and
Oh,
IT.
for an
and-
IT
yeah.
person?
Yeah, so,
That's-
Yeah, and on the side, I know I've been approached too by the city that they have a need for an IT person. So I think they're looking to see if there's anything as far as a sharing of that responsibility between two, if we'd be interested. So I said, good timing because we're looking at the same time, so just.
So
decide-
you
just
didn't
decide.
put any, that number was your or the zoning portion of Andrea's salary.
correct,
Okay.
that's what was in there, and I didn't put anything in there for 18, 19, cause, it's still kind of up in the air whether it is or not, so.
Okay.
So if you're looking at that office space, are you looking at a person that would be, whoever this person is that would do IT stuff would also be the receptionist for planning and zoning, and
It's
does that seem
open
realistic?
canvas.
Does that seem
I'm not
realistic?
sure that,
Right,
I
no,
never
it's
looked
not.
at it as a joint responsibility as an IT and a, like I said.
No,
an
you would
assistant.
hire an IT to be a secretary down there.
Yeah.
That's why I said it wasn't, that's why Gary and Jeff came, you know, it's a completely different concept, not a secretary down there.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you'd get much of a response for that.
No.
No.
So that's, but that office is a location for 4 people, as you're saying, is that what you're saying then, possibly?
If that's where they.
I just think a decision, you know, I felt like we haven't really fully made a decision on, you know, we lost Andrea, you know, whether or not we are looking at replacing or have the need. I guess, number one, do we have the need, you know, for a person? If so, is it part-time? Is it full-time, or, and what would that person be doing? You know, is there other departments that they could be supporting? So it's still a question.
Yeah, that's what it's just, whether we're gonna put a secretary back down there for a light on in that office, or if we're going to create a different position using that money. I mean, that was the reason for Gary and Jeff being here that day, was just
Right.
to
They're in OT.
plant seed, see as we go through this budget process, how we're gonna
Yeah.
do this, but. You, for your wishes, you would like something like a secretary down there.
I would, yes. And I can handle the workload of the permits and stuff. It's a matter of just having someone in the office when me and Jeff are out. The main reason, but obviously if there's someone in there, they need work to do, so they wind up taking permits and stuff while I do other stuff.
maybe what we need to do is see what Jeff has to say too when he comes up and does his budget.
How long's Andrew been gone?
Didn't she
I
take a
think
position
it's
with the
like-
school, so wasn't it about school
It
time?
was around September.
First September, maybe,
Yeah.
end of August.
Right around that time
Yeah.
Just had a couple questions, and I'm sorry, I don't have my reading glasses, so these numbers are looking very small to me right at this moment. But the top lines always are salary line, and so those were figured at what number?
That was one thing that might be changing with mine. Last year I was put to hourly. I was switched from salary to hourly. So I based this number off of my current hourly wage of $21.63. I did the little increase, the 2.61.
2.615 or something.
Yeah, so I increased the hourly wage of that by that percentage, and then I'm at 37 and a half hours a week, but I went ahead and did 40 hours a week just in case, cause I normally have some weeks that are longer than the others, so that's what that top salary line was based off of.
Increasing from 37 and a half to 40 and a 2.615 increase.
And the 40 was just a precaution. It's not that I am getting increased to 40 hours a week, it was just a precaution. Cause I get the overtime and or comp time from the commission last year, so without having that meeting and to determine whether I'm going back to hourly or salary.
And I'd like to maybe add that as it's not gonna be an agenda topic, but it will fit into tomorrow's discussion, you know, so that we can talk about that, I think,
Tomorrow
in front of the commission.
Yes, yes.
I think that is something that needs to be reviewed again, because just the way it seemed to be, you know, from the history of everything I've seen, I think it's open for discussion again.
And
So I'm just giving you a heads up, I do wanna
Yep.
have that be brought up again. And again, just that's whether or not she goes from hourly back to salary.
Just a couple more questions, and
Okay.
based on last year's actual numbers, they compared to your budgeted numbers, how did that turn out?
the overall for planning and zoning, and then the safety way below. We didn't have very many meetings for, zoning. Board of Adjustments met quite a bit, but they didn't even reach their full either.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to read me the numbers, because I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
see them.
I'm trying
You
to.
can kind of get an
Sorry.
idea if you look at where we're at. So like on the safety one, 2,109 was budgeted, and so far 1,277 has been spent, so 61% has been spent. And this was done with,
This would be at the 50% mark, 6 months.
no, this would be 11 payrolls, so 2 payrolls,
Oh, all right.
2 payrolls shy of 50%. So 5 months of payroll, not 6 months of payroll. But it's at 61% already, so I don't know, if you're intending on asking for any budget amendment or anything as well?
If it's already at that one, then yeah, I guess I wasn't looking at that part.
Or if your rest of your budget could absorb it, possibly. I mean, because your entire budget is at 32% on safety. So if you didn't plan on spending all the other line items, you're probably okay on safety, but
And
you're at
yeah,
32 on zoning also.
The education and training definitely, that line item definitely isn't gonna get spent.
So you maybe don't need an
So,
amendment,
Okay.
but the wages would be.
on track for being over budgeted.
That's on safety.
Mm,
On both of them, all three of them.
Both,
For all
yeah,
three
okay.
boards.
yeah.
These are questions I'm gonna ask everybody that comes in here this year, so I'm not saying anything now. If you were asked to reduce money in your budget, how would you do that?
Office supplies for safety is probably one where we could reduce it. I've got the other two budgets, so anything that really does come office equipment wise normally comes either out of zoning or the EMA budget. And then mileage, the mileage and other travel expenses, I've not really found any reason for that in the safety budget at all. That's really the only two in safety that I can see to reduce. Planning and zoning. The office, the general supplies, I mean, could probably be reduced just a little bit. I would say that mileage could probably be reduced to 500, but I am starting to get out into the county more often to do my own checks. Up until this point, Jeff has just kind of been telling me if he sees something out there when he's doing septic and well permits. And then the assessor's office has kind of started helping out to let me know, but I kind of need to get out there and do my own due diligence with that part, so more eyes will catch them, the ones that aren't filling out the permits or just don't know about it, it'll catch them faster, so, dues and memberships might be able to be reduced. I haven't used anything dues and memberships for planning and zoning wise, so. There might be some areas that I can.
I agree.
All right, thank you.
You know, it's a good question, you know, I think to ask of all the various departments. When I went through the budget process last year, it seemed to me that it's easy to look at what you've always been doing and just continue to wanna, do that, but really seriously taking a look at your department and your activities. Are there things that you've been doing that really are not as necessary versus those that you haven't been doing that you really should be doing? So when you talk about getting out more, and doing things that you haven't been doing within the county, I would encourage you almost at that point, because I would look at that's probably something that is important. People need to see you, they need to know you. You need to be checking on things that are probably pretty important to your job. But again, I think it's a healthy activity that all departments need to be doing, just really reviewing what they've done in the past.
When you do that mileage, you use the emergency management pickup, right?
Yes. And I actually did ask Cedar Valley Signs, is that what it's called?
Yeah, right.
Corey Munch.
Corey Munch.
Yes,
Yeah.
to make a zoning administrator, because
Oh.
it was on Jeff's vehicle, and it's still on Jeff's vehicle, but when I stop out at people's places to look at new buildings or something, they see the emergency management out there, and they're like, why are you out here? So I asked him, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet, so I haven't got anything on that stuff yet, but. Was that all the questions?
Yep.
Okay, I have one other thing.
Do you want anything put in then for an assistant? For budgeting, do you want some dollars put in for an assistant?
again, that's maybe something in the future, you know, that was why I had those guys come up and talk how we're gonna do that.
Can we
It's gonna be
leave it for
some-
now and know that we may wanna go back?
I just started a sheet.
Yeah,
I'll put
yeah,
assistance
since
if
you're
you
like
want it
the
added,
first
but if
one
you
to
don't want it
come.
now.
Yeah, and I think that's a good idea, so we don't lose sight of it. But I feel like to put something in there yet, I don't know if we're, I guess that's my opinion.
That's
I'm not
fine,
sure.
that's fine, just was checking.
The other thing that I just wanted to bring to your guys' attention, and I can always discuss it later, is the multi-hazard mitigation plan. You guys might remember the last time that it was done, right before Moreland left. It was supposed to be finished up and it was signed and everything, did we say 2015?
Is that something with NICOG?
Yes.
Yep.
You
Last
guys,
few
you
has
guys
last
went
time.
through NIACOG to get it updated. It's now due in 2020 again. So I need to
That young
start,
kid, Matt, was the one that made that presentation, yeah.
so I need to start looking to start the process again. And, state is no longer paying that for that to be, you guys, so
What is the name of it again?
it's the multi-hazard mitigation
I like all
plan.
these names,
Yes.
okay. Multi-hazard, okay.
It's basically all the
that-
hazards that can happen in Floyd County.
Okay, I was gonna say, is it across county? Okay, just
This.
No, they literally listed all the,
wow, okay. All
Don't
right.
run off of that one, but
Okay,
that's
well-
what it's about.
So multi-jurisdictional
Right.
hazard mitigation plan.
Okay.
So the state was paying for that, well, reimbursing through the grant process, and they're no longer doing that unless counties or districts go district-wide with it, and all of the counties that I have talked to don't agree with that. We don't get the
literally
individual
lists
attention that we
the
need.
anhydrous tanks and the, I mean, it's
Wow,
kind
it
of
covers a
specific. in
lot.
that.
Yes,
Yeah,
it covers a
Wow.
lot.
I mean,
Yeah,
anhydrous
just
tanks is one
looking
thing,
at
there
it.
are many more, but.
All
So
right.
this is just, I have not talked to NIACOG yet.
And this is required by code?
For this
is
to
you
be
want to
updated.
get FEMA reimbursements.
Yes.
So that, and this was done in what year?
Every 5
They
years.
finished it in
2015, got it.
2015.
Okay.
So yes, every 5 years it needs to be,
2020, but it doesn't happen overnight.
nope, it's about two-year process, so.
And this is the cost?
This was just one, someone approached me from Two Rivers, and they sent me a quick quote, just so that I could have something to show you while I brought that to your guys' attention. I have not talked to NIACOG to see what they can do if they redo it again. I'm assuming it's probably gonna be close to what they did last time, which was 28-ish.
I think it's 27, 28,000, something like that.
It was a bunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
This isn't a hard quote
Is
or
this a
anything
private
like that. Yes.
This I suggested Leslie bring this up during budget time but it's been paid for out of Department 51 in the past, general services. But she knows more, emergency management kind of takes the lead on it, but it's a general services expense. So it'll be not in her budgets, but when we hit 51, we'll need to make sure we're covering.
In the past, we've got the
Right.
grant.
Yes.
I don't, did it cover 100% of them both times, or?
It was before, you guys
Very
got all the
close.
financials figured out before I got here, but
Yeah.
if not,
I think it pretty much
100%,
covered,
yeah, it was.
very little if that was out of, might have netted maybe, but.
And this company, Two Rivers, said that they can do it in 2 phases, the cost, if you guys need to. So, like the first year be phase 1, and then the second year, when it's all finalized, year 2, phase 2, so.
And then, and again, I know this is just one company, I'm sure there's
Yeah,
more, so they
definitely.
would literally do all the legwork?
Yes.
I mean, they do all the meetings with the appropriate people and gather the information, or Are they taking this and then they, as their starting point, and then they just basically make adjustments?
I think they would look at this, especially if it was a different company, they would look through this.
Yeah.
And alter it. I can tell you that there are some EMAs that are taking this on themselves and correcting it, updating it, whatever you wanna call it, themselves. Please don't do that to me, not right now.
Well, I mean, and the
That's
only
not
reason I'm
the
asking.
first one that was ever made, was it?
No,
No.
No.
there's a
That
very
big
large.
one.
It was right after the 2008 flood,
Okay.
that they didn't have anything in place, and so Nyakog did that one as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of work goes into this, and then, you know, to spend, you know, $20,745 for another company to start fresh? Or is it taking what we have and modifying it? That's,
I brought this just so you guys could see the numbers.
yeah. No, I
All
appreciate it.
questions and everything,
Okay.
I can definitely either get you guys the contact, or, you can shoot me all the questions and I can ask them. It doesn't matter to me. I will be talking with Nyakog. Maybe since it's the third time they've done it, a little bit of a discount or something, I'm not real sure, so.
Maybe if they know.
Yeah. They're getting beat out, maybe they will.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
So I just brought that just
Well,
so,
just for our attention that something's gonna have to happen.
So-
Okay.
whatever you guys wanna do with that,
Alright,
just let me know.
okay.
Thank
Thank you. Alright,
See you guys tomorrow night.
okay.
Would you like to do Board of Supervisors today?
Sure.
I just got a couple copies.
I need a,
We don't have an
vote
assessor's
again.
board meeting, do we?
Hmm?
Well, we usually have that preceding the Emergency Management Commission, don't we?
The what?
The assessor's board?
you know,
Typically.
that
Yeah.
was last year. I remember that
Well, I'm
because
wondering
I-
if she's not having her own because she's going to military practice.
Okay, so there is no.
I don't know.
No, I have not
conference board.
seen anything
Not that I-
at all.
Okay, I haven't
No, but you're
received
right, that was
anything that
first
was-
and,
yeah.
This is the only one I've got, yeah. And that is tomorrow night, right?
Tomorrow night, 5:00,
Okay.
Is that the first presentation of the budget?
yes.
Okay.
What time is that?
5:00, down in the assembly room.
Yeah, she's going off on 2 weeks military training.
I don't have this filled in, but I thought it might be good for you guys to.
Okay.
This is, I did throw $100 in revenue, but. So I took the comp board's recommendation for the salary line item and took that times the IFRS, just as a refresher to.
These are just magnifying glasses.
Good job.
You know,
They're not prescription glasses.
Natalie's not gonna help.
Okay.
That was my pocket.
I know, all these
They
numbers.
look nice, I wish they would work. I'll leave some up here.
So it's the first, actually the fourth line item, I was just looking up doing the math on the health insurance on there also. But maybe we can just look at some of these. For fuels, you've had $100 budgeted in the past, haven't used anything. But I think the intent was if you all took the county car somewhere, instead of your personal vehicle, that you'd have a line item for that. So I
Yeah.
don't know if you want anything budgeted there, it's only $100, so
Yeah.
whichever way you want to go.
Mhm.
Do you put 100 there, or?
Sure.
I believe it. Yeah, 100.
And general office supplies, a lot of times they all just get supplies out of the auditor's budget that we've paid for. But occasionally you'll have something that we'll order, like I think the clock back there we took out of,
I was gonna say, we have used it in the past.
yeah.
You overspent it, Gloria.
Yes, 118, yes.
I didn't buy
No, the
that
clock
clock.
wasn't that much.
I didn't buy that
Say, I
clock.
hope the clock was not that much.
I know, I'd have to look, if you'd like me to look to see what it is, that's the word, I'd look.
You don't look at me, go to the revenue sheet. Who brings in the revenue?
So should we just keep $100 in the supplies there too?
Yeah,
Publication notices. This is, notices other than Board of Supervisor minutes, so it might be notices like the annual cash report, or semi-annual cash report, just different types of things that are published by
Notice public hearings and
budget
things.
hearings.
Oh, all of those.
Those kind of things, yeah. Yeah.
You know, with that
So-
next item, every once in a while you hear something about, you know, online minutes. Not published minute or not.
That they're
hard
not
copy,
there.
published minute.
Oh,
Hard.
that they're published.
But
Or
it
they're
never goes
online.
anywhere, does it?
No, they're kind of hand slaps if they're. But 500 hasn't been enough for 3 years. Even already this year, 500 isn't enough in 5 months into the year. So I don't know if you want to bump it to 1,000.
You better, or you're gonna
I
be in
think you're
trouble,
gonna
aren't you?
have to.
1,500 even is where you're more on target for probably.
You've already spent $796 this year.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's already this year. You may wanna go the 1,500 then.
These like for budget amendments as well?
Oh, yep,
Yeah.
budget amendments, semi-annual cash reports,
Yeah.
gap reports. and
Public hearings
Right.
for,
Public hearings for
Whatever.
ordinances. So
Okay.
we've had, this year you've
Which we
had
have.
a couple of ordinances, 3
Right.
ordinances with Rye
Mhm.
and the dog and the
Yep.
large
Large animal.
livestock at large. The Southwest TIF
Mm.
stuff as well.
yeah, we have public notice if we have a
Yeah.
livestock confinement.
Yeah,
Mm.
right, yep,
Over
that's
the
another one.
zone.
No, it adds up.
Yeah. So you want me to put that at 15?
I would say so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds accurate.
Sounds good.
Okay. Board proceedings. That is just your Monday, Tuesday
What?
meetings.
That did go down for a little bit. Why?
Well, we have not had as many Monday meetings.
Just depends on
Yeah, I mean, those meetings aren't a lot per, like a Monday meeting doesn't cost a lot for publication. It's, the Tuesday meetings cost more because you have to publish all your claims and
the, right.
Mhm.
that type of thing, so. I'd say probably maybe keep,
So what is,
and it might be that
what
Tracy is maybe
percentage are we at
podiums.
with this one? 50%?
You would be 5 out of 12 months, so whatever that percent is, you'd be,
40.
yeah, in there,
So go
Um,
accordingly.
yeah. And it may be that Tracy is maybe coding some of these, maybe some things have been recorded under board proceedings where they've, you know, like maybe you should put some hog confinements in board proceedings rather than in other publication costs. So I guess it would be
14,000 is still good there.
still 14, okay.
That's what I'm asking. It looks like it is.
Yeah. Postage and mailing, that one is sometimes just a timing of things because I see it over in a line item last fiscal year, but it might have just, you know, we it might have been your account may have just been, under budget towards the end of the year, but we had to get money
Oh, I
in there
see.
too.
Mhm.
But, you know, we don't, put out your, like, we run all the claims checks that we mail out, we put all that under auditor, we don't put that kind of stuff under you. But we, you know, we do put things like there was additional postage with PERG mailings for the negotiations, and, certain things that are specific to you, we do put those under your postage. But a majority of our postage probably goes under the auditors. And it's all general fund. Anyway, so, I don't know if you want, so what it is when your account gets low, whatever we've budgeted, we pop money in there. So it's, the reason it's an even $100 is because whenever your postage is low, we popped in $100. And so then,
You only get to do it once more.
once more, or we go over like we did the year before.
Right.
But you're probably, for the most part, it's probably safe with 200 again.
Sounds good.
It would just be if there were large mailings for some reason, like we do, like the Hockenheim with things now we're
That would be-
mailing everybody
Within a certain distance.
within a mile radius.
Yeah, so that comes out of this one.
Yeah, yeah.
And those are the unknowns. You don't know
Yeah.
where you're gonna get them.
It's a small number, 200 is fine if it goes over. You can go over in a line item, you just can't go over in the entire budget. Mileage, it doesn't look like any of you have turned mileage in, through the first 5 months anyway, of the year. I don't know if anybody did in December.
I do.
I didn't.
If you turn it in, we appreciate it when you turn it in timely, so at least is in the same fiscal year,
Right.
if you could.
Mhm,
Yeah.
okay.
So what would you like in that line item?
Well, I think we've been spending 25, 26, 22.
And maybe you could even drop that down to
25?
25.
25?
Yeah. One place we can reduce something, I won't have to ask that question.
There you
go.
Education and training. This should be like if you registered for ISAC classes, or conferences.
So what did we end up using this last year? Because I know
I
I,
think we budgeted to 2,000, last year I think the board budgeted the 2,000 with you coming on as new, that you might be more apt to go to, as a new supervisor, go to more meetings and.
because I know I've already scheduled for the one, right away in February, and then I know
There's
you've
one-
got the other one in March that I know I'd like to go to again. What is it?
Did you say you
spring?
signed up for the January one also?
It's February 1st.
Okay, was on Dusty with that meeting May,
Statewide supervisor meeting?
Yeah.
that's
But
February.
there's another one, there's
February.
ISAC
January
University
is
or
the,
something, isn't
ISAC
it?
University is January, you said you signed up for that one when Dusty
Yeah.
asked about negotiations, you said you had that one.
Right.
That was in March, there's been school, maybe.
The spring one, I think, is in March. Where it's the 2-day.
That's a university.
That's a
statewide
university.
supervisor is only one day.
Yeah.
No, university is January. January.
Yeah, that's
Dusty
what I
wanted to
said,
talk about the
January.
negotiation. Oh, we still have a calendar.
Statewide supervisor is usually in February sometime, isn't it?
Right, she signed up for that.
Did sign up for that.
Yeah. But when Dusty was sending out dates that worked for negotiations, that was ISAC University, it was January 18th, I think. It was
Yeah.
ISAC University.
Didn't you say you were going to that?
Which I have not signed up for.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I have not,
Okay.
and I'm not going to that, but I am going to the state supervisor meeting February 1st, and then I know I want to go to the March one, which will be coming up.
Yeah.
So I know that those are ones, and then, I enjoy going when I can. It's a great networking opportunity too.
Yeah, I went to, I think every
So I-
statewide supervisor.
So I guess, making sure that we have at least a budget line item, you know, so that we have money in there, so that when we can go, we can.
Sure. Do you want the 10,000 or do you want something different than that?
Has the 2,000 been working, or,
Oh, yeah, well, more than.
okay.
Do you want to keep it at 2 or?
You can cut that one to 1,500, that'll keep Mark happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, 1,500.
Another asterisk.
Well, you know, we.
Keep that one, and you just hold up, see, we cut ours.
Oh, yeah, to keep
My
on.
glasses work real well.
We're brutal up here.
Questions, and I'll be interested to see how that reaction to that question is for everyone. You know,
Somebody get a
But it's-
response. You can almost guess what Deb's is gonna be, you know, cause hers is always the same and it's such a fine margin anyway,
Right, yeah.
but.
And then dues and memberships,
What is,
that's your supervisor dues. So,
You
Affiliate
have to
dues.
pay.
Affiliate dues.
That's the district?
The district to,
that's what I'm worried, the district you
Yeah.
talk of.
I think you all have, you pay ICE, I don't know if you pay, I mean, that one might be coming under your educational training, but unless yours reads that it's dues when you do that one, I'm not sure. But it's like, ISAC has an affiliate fee, or your affiliate, ISAC bills for your affiliate fee. Or actually, I don't know who bills for your affiliate fee. But that's what that's for. So ISAC dues, that type of thing. ISAC and affiliate dues come out of that.
cause you've already used 350 this year.
There once a year. it's
But
probably
again,
done.
is there anything left? And so I'm just questioning why we put 425 in even. So that one may make sense too, to drop a little bit.
Yeah, let's see what has been paid up there.
The next one, the NICOG, we don't have a choice whether we wanna be a NICOG, do we? So why do you call it a contribution?
I
Well,
think
they
that's what-
determine
Yeah,
every year that
That's
they,
what you
Well,
said
they
at those
do.
meetings that you
Yeah.
go to.
I know
how much
that,
it is.
but we don't have,
4,000
we don't have a
$10.
choice to be there, so if we don't have a choice, why are you calling it a contribution?
Oh. That's just what the
Tax.
line
Now
item's
it's
called.
Tax.
Okay, so did you get your dues and memberships answered?
I'm looking up. On dues and memberships, this year you paid $350 for supervisor dues. So to Iowa State Association of Counties, so it,
And will that go up?
I
You
don't
know.
what your, I don't know what mine do, it was an auditor, but I don't know what yours do.
I mean, that would be the only
Supervisor.
thing, if we kept it at
Apparently, those
350.
dues went up in the past, cause for a couple of years it was 275. So that's been the only item.
Yeah, so that
comes
would be
out
the
of
only
it.
thing, we'd have to account for any, you know, the
Yeah.
increase.
I don't know, was there something that you had talked about paying the due for?
Well, it seems,
Becoming a member?
to me, it seems
Chamber
odd.
of
Every once in a while, that
Commerce.
drainage,
Chamber of
thing-
Commerce, wasn't it?
the
Chamber of
drainage
Commerce?
thing comes up.
Yeah.
Iowa drainage.
Yeah, but that's more than $75 difference there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I just think, was it Chamber of Commerce that y'all were
Did we
paying
join that?
dues for the Chamber of Commerce? Or
It'd
maybe
be more
Veteran
than that,
Affairs
though.
did. I don't remember.
Hmm.
Probably not for a government entity, probably not for village.
I think we denied that. We didn't join the Chamber of Commerce. We
Maybe
were
we-
asked to.
Maybe we budgeted,
Maybe,
maybe that's why it's more.
Yeah, I didn't
Maybe we
realize that
budgeted.
either.
it'd be more than that, I think our Okay, that's gonna be $600 and some dollars.
Mine's only 100 for my business.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
But I think government entities don't
That's
pay.
okay. Okay.
They're not the typical chamber business.
You didn't pay anything, did you?
No, nothing's been paid, but I
Okay.
wonder if maybe we budgeted for it in case you wanted to. A year ago at this time?
I mean,
Maybe
change
that's how it got
minds.
in there, but didn't maybe? I don't know.
Hmm.
Do you want me to drop it back to 350, or are you aware of your dues going up at all, or? Maybe there was some anticipation of your dues going up? I don't remember. to tell you the truth.
I don't know.
Maybe
Maybe just
you're
make it
right,
four.
maybe it was because of that chamber thing, but then we never did it.
Yeah, that's what's sticking with me, but I
I
don't.
mean, it's not that much, maybe just make it 400 and that'll account for any maybe increase.
Okay, and then that next line item is $4,010. That's the NIACOG one, I mean.
Hmm.
That went up like 5% last year, maybe more.
76 cents per capita to the rural only.
It got raised last year, though, from what it was.
Sure. It was 3,000.
That's not the only contribution.
That's the only thing that comes out of this line.
Out of this one, but that's not the only thing that we give to NICOG.
No, it's in
Yeah.
different budgets. You have it'll be 25,000 for the transit and 11,000 for,
Right.
those will come out of different budgets.
May as well get rid of that transit number, it's going to. It's either gonna change or it's gonna end. Number one, they can't find an operator to replace the Haggertys when they want to retire, which is coming up. But Joe just raised the wages in Mason City to $14. And they have some special trips that they were talking about, $18. He said it's just blowing his budget, but it's the only way that they can get drivers.
Yeah, that's gotta be tough,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then your miscellaneous services, $50. I think it was just a cushion of something sort, something. I don't know if you want that $50 in there or not in there.
I have no idea what that is.
It's not been used.
It's-
It's been budgeted, but it's not been used.
Slash it.
Sure.
I would say take it out, if it hasn't ever been used.
Yeah.
Put a line through that, put MK right beside it, Mark Cuban.
What? That's all right, I can take any part. That's fine.
And then the last one was IT hardware, and that was if you all decided you wanted to get
Oh,
equipment here.
No, that came from in the past.
Yeah.
and again, I'm happy with my own.
I got some freaking many electronic devices, I'll bring one of my own, I don't wanna add
Well,
another.
Yeah, I've got a
I've got a
laptop
$35
myself.
laptop you're welcome to use if you all would like to have us do those laptops. I paid $35 for them, we could sure use those too.
I would say,
It'd be, a little getting them set up, but if y'all
I'm
would like
fine.
to, if you'd
I
like to
know.
go to
I know you
electronic
mentioned that.
meeting, instead of making these hard copy papers, we could do that, and use those laptops for that, or.
I got one exactly like that, and I got one exactly like that, so I could bring anything I wanted to if I thought I needed to. I'm happy with it. I don't need one.
I mean, it's, yeah, I'm fine. I have no,
So
Need.
this is just kind of it definitely refers to that. So any changes that we expect to make in the board meeting room, and certainly there will be some IT stuff involved in a new board room changes, then if we're not putting that in a budget, then that would go in the bond referendum. Is that kind of-
I know, I've been thinking about that too, because we have to look at the future of, I mean, that's a decision that's gonna have to be made. Do we just go ahead and assume that that ends up being part of the referendum, paying for those expenses?
Yeah.
That would kind of, excuse me, yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think that, at this point, what you would look for budgeting would be cost of an election and some not out of this department, your department right
And
now.
we'll have to
but,
look at that, that'd be out of yours.
There's a building budget, there's the general services budget, and my elections budget, if there's a special election. But I always budget for a special election anyway. But as far as, you'll probably looking at possibly more cost and services from Prochaska or whoever,
Mhm.
but
Where would that come from?
Department 51, general services.
So if we,
Same
again,
as
pay for another
consulting fees like
phase,
Leslie talked
yeah.
about with that 5-year multi-jurisdiction, we have a consulting line item, that those type of things could come out.
We need to keep that in mind.
Yeah, but as far as bonding, that type of thing at this point, I don't know that we'd wanna put anything in a budget, because it's gonna affect your budget, but maybe it's amending for certain things other than consulting costs, maybe when you know more.
Can
what
we
direction
then,
you're
I
going.
guess, my question would be, or I can keep track of it, just from the project perspective, but wonder if we shouldn't start just keeping a list of those certain things so that we don't lose sight of them as we're going through the budget process too.
That's what your.
Your other list, you know what I mean, though,
Yeah.
of those, things to keep in mind of if the referendum,
Yeah,
moves forward. How are those expenses? Where do we account for some of those expenses?
yeah.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because I'm hopeful we'll have a successful referendum. And that people would want to know, and I certainly would want to know, is that cost of the changes in the building part of the referendum, or is that going to be an expense more?
That would be
another-
a
in
huge
another
part of the
budget year?
educational part of.
Right,
And so you kind of have to have some number down.
right.
And I know we have those broad-based square
Right.
footage things.
Right.
Right, and that's a good, very valid point, because what we've been talking about for numbers, has included, the 13 million has included courthouse renovations.
Right.
You
That's
do
what I
have
said, that's a
3 million
huge
in-
part
And
of the
there's hard
education.
costs and soft costs, and there's a whole list of what those soft costs, assumptions are. The other thing, it's no different than, we're looking at 911 communications boards, and what those costs would be associated with, changes to hardware, software, connectivity and all of that, literal, let alone just the physical
Mhm.
brick and mortar, building, room for them. So all of that has to be taken into consideration. So I look at that very similarly.
Yeah. When you get to the point of having Bob Jostin talk to you about what's this gonna look like on a ballot, that's where some of those things will come out of where the resources that you have going to come from.
Right.
So
And-
this budget that we're looking at, and this is just the first example of that, there'll be other
Right.
departments, then we're just not putting anything in there for any of that.
I don't know
I don't know
how
how
you
you
could
do
at
it,
this
so we
point.
just-
I don't know how you could, and though to that point, and I do want to start scheduling those department meetings, because I had mentioned I would go and talk to every single department, see what their needs are, for space, so that we're hearing from them. And I think those are some of the targeted topics I think that we need to have with each and every one of them, because they're gonna ask the same question.
Right.
Well, if I do wanna make these changes, where do I put that, is that part of my budget?
Right.
Or does it go somewhere else?
Yeah, it can be in with the bond, but the considerations that you may make are, if you have 3 million sitting in your general fund, do you want to tap some of that to cover so you don't have to bond for 13 million or whatever the number is? And use some of your general fund dollars for maybe some of the courthouse stuff, rather than bonding so there's a lot to talk about.
Does your agreement with Prohaska right now cover through the bonding process?
No.
No.
No. So that's gonna be an addition.
No, and that's why we have to keep that in mind.
And that probably is something that we're gonna budget for. Or is
Well,
that coming
I'm
from
gonna
this year?
rephrase that. What you have with Prochaska has no cost in it for you getting to put in a question on the ballot as far as, because that's tapping Bob Jostin, nothing Prochaska.
They're
Not
gonna
your
provide us the
consultants.
estimate.
The
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah, so the cost that they come up with, that's what we'll take to Bob Johnston and say, here's our costs, here's what we're looking at. Talk about your resources that you have and how much you want. They're just saying, if you put, Prochaska's just saying, if you put it all in a bond, all the entire project cost on bond, this is what we estimate it's going to be.
Right.
Mm.
And then it's up to us to
But
sit there and
in
look
this-
at it and determine where we wanna go with that.
In this budget, do we need to budget something to pay Prohaska for the next step before you get to the bond?
Not in this budget.
Not in this one,
But
we're
in
taking it
this-
out of this one?
Yeah, well, it
The
depends
one
on your
where-
timing of things. If it's a budget amendment, if you're gonna have an expense before June 30th, then you're
It's
gonna
gonna
amend
be
your budget.
an
If
amendment,
it's
yeah,
an anticipation that
Right.
you're probably gonna have additional consulting costs anyway for
Right.
next year,
right.
then you,
And that
when we do
comes out
Department
of
51.
51.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I would just, as part of that planning for changes to the boardroom, I'd volunteer to go to a few counties that have, and see what they're doing, and just kind of report back to the board. You know, what did they do? I actually haven't been to Mitchell County.
Oh, very
Sort of
nice.
a little trip up there, see what changes they might have made.
Bremer County has a really nice, the way they
I think
redid
that'd be
theirs.
great.
You know, get some
Yeah.
ideas.
Absolutely.
You know, what's the size of your room, what kind of,
Sure.
I've been to the one in
Additional
Mitchell
equipment,
County,
idea.
when they had the courthouse, they had an open house one Saturday up there. The only thing that was kind of strange about that, they have a room down there which is a supervisor, all three of them got a desk in the same room. Isn't that an illegal meeting?
No, not if you're not deliberating.
Okay,
You just gotta remember what you can and can't do when you're,
okay.
if you're all in the same place. Yeah. But they have a huge open room for meetings,
Right,
huge.
Mitchell?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if they equipped it with anything IT, or, you know.
And that would be the
Cameras.
other
Yeah,
thing, I'd
cameras,
love
I
to
know
know,
that.
you know, how are they handling the recordings of the meetings?
Yeah.
and-
right.
Yeah,
I think Hampton,
appreciate you doing that.
Franklin
I think
County.
it's a great idea.
Franklin County had a
Get back to you
update
soon.
not too long ago.
month or so.
Yeah, take some pictures.
Well, you go to, where do you go for your judicial meetings?
Now Webster County.
Yeah, they got a pretty impressive.
Well, we don't go there.
Do you go to the law enforcement?
We go to the, what's kind of a general services building,
No.
but it's right across this, it's very close to the courthouse, yeah.
Have you been there? Unfortunately, I was there to testify in
No,
the
I've
murder
not.
trial, but if you go over there in that law enforcement, well, Wes Sweeter took me around and showed me that their whole, literally a complex. When you drive by, first glance, it looks like a mall over there. It's a big spread out thing, but go through that one. That's a pretty impressive.
Like Butler County, I don't
But
think
it's-
their room is as big as this room.
Hmm.
Mitchell County's old one was a smaller room than this room.
You
Right.
know what Chickasaw is like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
very small room, Chickasaw,
Right,
yeah.
of course, and then they've got 5 supervisors
City.
filling that space too, so.
That's right.
Forest City
Versus
has,
City.
did you go to Forest City? Something. Or maybe I was just in Forest City. Forest City, I think when there was a district meeting, District 2 meeting for all the affiliates, they had a tour over at Winnebago one time. And they have, their supervisors have a room probably twice the size of this.
Webster County, where they have
With
their
benches. I
supervisor
wonder if it was a
meetings,
courtroom.
is not a
Yeah.
very big room, but they have a huge assembly room right outside of it that they can go to.
Which one?
Webster County.
Webster?
Well, anyway,
That'd be an interesting question for our affiliate to ask too. Maybe they could help provide some information. What do the different boards throughout the state, where they meet or
Right.
things like that? What do you recommend for things?
Hardin County must be
They
very
just
similar to
Took a
ours.
picture and sent a picture of their boardrooms just to kind of see and tell us.
Yeah.
how many-
that's why I said if you do attend, Andy, take pictures. I'm
Okay.
interested to see. So anyway, back on IT hardware, I think that's where we were getting in this discussion, so.
Like I say, I can bring my own laptop or I can bring my own
Fine.
computer.
I mean, that's one
Don't-
way of just saying we can take that portion off our budget.
Take 1,000 off, you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
To 0? Yeah.
0.
What did we put in there for the NICOG thing?
4,010.
2010.
That's all I have for you, unless didn't have time this weekend to work on any budgets, but, if you'd like to do some of those, like medical examiner, juvenile probation, clerk of court, I could run copies of those, we could work on them together, or I could bring them up next time.
We are having a meeting, but Gerald Smith,
If it don't bother you anything.
You're on camera.
I do.
You're on
Good morning.
camera.
public comment?
Yeah, is this,
I was just gonna talk to the supervisors about something. I talked to Mike Berglund on account of that watershed. See, I'm not in a watershed, but they're gonna try and close some wells. And it would involve a couple more people, and there's no watershed. Is it best to have a watershed or? how do we go?
Drainage? A drainage?
District, yeah.
Drainage district?
okay, again, so we're on camera, and so if you could state your name,
Gerald Schmidt,
okay?
Ulster Township. And I talked to Mike Berglund, and he said, talk to the supervisors, you know, if we wanted to force a drainage district. You know how all this stuff goes, don't you?
A couple of years ago, Ralph Smith came in, remember he talked to us
Yeah,
about
That was up
forming
by
a new one,
Rudd.
but where was that at?
That was up by Rudd, up by your 25 and 26.
They never ever did that one, did they?
No, there isn't that many watersheds in Floyd County, or
There's-
drainage districts.
Drainage district.
Drainage
There-
district.
But there are some that aren't
Yeah.
necessarily the Board of Supervisors or trustees. You don't have to have the Board of Supervisors act as trustees for a watershed. You could establish a drainage district on your own without the Board of Supervisors as
Okay.
trustees. That group did engage Ralph Smith, who does have some interest in drainage law, or did at that time.
But he's also retiring.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Oh, this drainage law, I don't understand it all.
Yeah.
Well, join the crowd.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's clearly spelled out in the Iowa code, which,
It's in the Iowa Code. I don't know how clear it is, but it's in the
if you literally wanted to start one, I'd probably tell you to go talk to a guy out in western Iowa called Don Etler, who is a drainage engineer.
From Spencer.
Esterville, somewhere out in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Don Etler.
Sounds like you've already spoken with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got his cell number in my
Okay, so you
phone.
know him very well.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he can get you whoever you want in that district involved, he could get you started.
And he's the
with that
engineering
process.
firm.
Right,
Yeah.
INS, well, it used to be INS, now what do they call it?
He's with Breton
He-
and Monk.
He was with INS and.
Say
then-
that again, Gloria?
They
Right.
just changed. Yeah.
Brett-
No.
Well, Don didn't just change,
Oh.
Don's been with
Yeah,
Benton and Monk, is that?
Benton and
Well, there you
Yeah.
go,
that's it, that's it.
yep,
Yeah.
he was with INS, he was on his.
He hasn't
own.
been with INS for years, though.
No, I know, he left there, and then he was off, he had to do his non-compete thing, and so he was
Yeah, he-
floating around, and then he went to work for this Benton and Monk, and then Benton and Monk turned around and bought INS or closed them or whatever they did.
No,
Anyway,
Yeah, okay.
he'd be the guy.
So I'm on the right path already.
Sounds like it.
Okay.
but if you want them to be trustees, then whoever you're using would eventually bring a petition to the Board of Supervisors, if you want them to be trustees.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have them as trustees.
Cause there's
There's
some
mutual-
over there,
There's mutual drainage districts without, well, and even,
Dennis Stout is.
Trustee.
I know they got their own trustees, those ones west
Yeah.
of Bill Warriors,
these don't come to the
Yeah.
Board of Supervisors,
yeah. They have their own.
their own trustees.
But otherwise, we do it, and you can ask Linda what happens then.
Yeah, I know.
We spent your money.
Oh, you're not?
Well, it's
No,
all your
No.
money, none of
No,
it's
it's
county
not.
dollars.
That's-
It's all your,
she's-
it's your district,
yeah.
it's your district, so it's,
It's not a real big district. And the worst of it, we can flow two ways. And I tried to get a crap, but couldn't get one landlord to cooperate, so that's.
Makes it tough when it crosses
Right.
boundaries.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I would
Okay.
tell you to do, is start with Don, and
So,
he could certainly guide you down that path anyway.
okay,
And you'd probably want an attorney to drop a petition if you
Right.
want them to be a part of it.
got that already.
You got the attorney?
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
then,
there you go.
Yeah.
See, Tom Lawler, I don't know if you know him, Parkersburg.
No.
He's the administrator of absentee landowners of the second well. And he's the attorney. He's got everything drawn up, so all I gotta do is sign papers. We got the papers signed. The big thing is, we're trying to get it through with this cost, with the involvement of the state closing them, that they get, get 75%, and we need that engineer, and that's where non-Etler comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that survey and then go from there, but we got a couple landowners that don't wanna be in it. But they got real wet ground that they're waiting for us to put it in, and then they wanna be
They can
able to
Sure.
benefit from it.
benefit from it.
Mhm.
Sure.
So we're trying to come up with, if we can avoid anybody hooking onto that without paying into it.
Don would be the guy.
Yeah, so that's what we're, and then.
Yeah, they should remember that, those drainage, well, this is a drainage well, those agreements to keep them open are going to expire soon. And,
Yeah.
if you're not
That time is coming up
involved with
real
that,
shortly.
yeah,
19.
it is.
19.
19, and, there's some state funding available for that, I know they appropriated that last year, but, they don't wanna participate. You're all gonna have to close it sometime, and there was no 75%.
See, I'm in a position though, I could put in a pump and dump in the ditch, but then it's gonna flow down to the next one. And that's where Don says you can't do that anymore. So I don't know, that's what's got me puzzled, is one guy says you can and one guy says you can't. Don't know exactly what the ruling is on it. So.
Well, the drainage things are to use his words, they're clearly spelled out in the Iowa code, but it's not very clear if you're not a lawyer or a drainage engineer.
Yeah.
But those drainage laws have not changed very much in the last 100 years.
If that one has or not.
What's that?
Well,
If
and
that's-
but his drainage well may be a different issue than a drainage district.
Right, but the
Yeah.
EPA and the DNR and everybody else has.
Well, I got a permit, and it's August of 19, I think. That's what it expires.
There's a few lessons like that, just a handful.
Yeah. But it really would have been simple if we just would have had one guy cooperate, we just could have went right on down the line and made the crap and took care of it. But that's the way it goes.
Things are tough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, and hey, thank you for the donation. Did your boy tell you about the donation? You know where we
I'm
were.
not sure I've heard this yet.
You'll find out the next time you see him.
I can't wait.
Okay, well, if I got any
All
more
right.
questions, I'll get a hold of you two dudes
All right.
and invite you out.
Thank you. All right, so is there any more on budgets?
No, unless you'd like me to just run, like I say, medical examiner. They're blank right now if you wanted to work on them together, but I can do it at the next meeting too and have it
Sounds good to me.
ready for you. Bring your glasses.
Yeah,
Okay, so we'll hold on then.
I'll keep some up here.
All right,
I'm
then item
adjourned.
25,
I've
yes.
moved to adjourn.
All right, we're adjourned.